Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, it is 8:15. Do you have any liquor licenses, Amber?
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No liquor licenses, public comment. Anybody come in, anybody call? You guys here to comment on anything here ahead of time? Okay. Meeting updates. I spent the a couple days last week in Des Moines for a new county officer school. That was always good. Nice to talk to other people and see how they're doing things. Other than that, that's all I have.
I just had the Board of Health last Monday, and then newly elected officer school for ISAC as well.
I also attended the public health meeting last Monday evening and also attended Isaac's new officer school for training of other people. I thought we had a very good turnout.
It was a good turnout.
A lot of new faces, that was there for the school, and a lot of people that didn't show up. I think there was about 25 that
Didn't make it.
registered but never came in for name tags.
Okay. Mr. Farrow, you are up.
Up already. Okay. First on the list, bring to you guys our skid loader quote for purchase. This is a John Deere 335 skid loader. Suggested list price $152,000. Our pricing that they would sell it to us for is $104,289. This is something that we did budget $80,000 for in the beginning of the budget, and like we talked last week, we have some other items that came in under budget, so we can kind of within the same category of equipment.
Within your budget.
We would shift over there, so within budget. This will primarily be dedicated to our IRM programs, so our roadside vegetation management, brush control, and stuff like that.
This is a track machine and not a wheel.
Yeah. Okay. Track.
Nice.
And this will be the biggest one. It's bigger than any one we have right
As you were
now.
saying for the forestry head, so good. What do you think, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion to approve purchase of the new skid loader at $104,289, right?
Correct.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We trade anything in, Jake? Or is
No.
this just fire? Okay, good deal. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. You want my autograph?
This will be large enough to fill trucks and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah, it's,
The other one's just a little bit close.
yeah, this one's definitely bigger than any other one we have right now.
Good.
Okay. Next is,
Here,
I don't know if Mark Hughes or Triley's gonna come in. I texted him early this morning if you wanna come in for the variance. I talked with Triley, he just said, thanks for the heads up, so I don't know if that meant he was coming or not. Just to give him a few more minutes here, I'll skip down to
Can we
D,
move down
if
to
that's
the
okay.
inspection on it?
yeah.
We'll come back to B and C. We got our bridge inspection quote from HGM. So our bridges are inspected every 2 years. And Kevin was in here, I don't know how long ago, a month or so, talking about the increased cost to meet the new requirements and of the SNBI is what it's called. The total quote for just our inspection would be 59,000. For updating the SNBI is another 60,000. So that's where you can see that when the feds come out with the, oh, we need to put this extra stuff on your inspection report, how it equates to money out of our pocket. Total quote was $119,900. This is something that I have budgeted for next year, and we still have some from this year, and so it usually carries over, and they'll work with us. I have 90,000 budget for next year, and then this year we have some left over, so it's within budget. So I would recommend that we do go ahead and do all of the updating of the SNBI requirements.
We have to.
Instead of, I mean, we could push it off, but I would rather just do it up front right now.
How many bridges do we have total?
I believe 135.
I knew it was over.
Although it might be a couple less because we removed Queens Ave Bridge
Right.
and then the one down on Wrist Road.
We tried to take a few bridges out of inspection to have them not be bridges anymore. We've been putting some box culverts in.
Yeah.
This crew has been learning how to set those so that it's cost money, less maintenance, in a lot of ways. So
Well, there's a bridge down on Mar Avenue south of Malvern. You know which one I'm talking about?
That's a double Bailey.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. As soon as we can get that to fall into the river and not have to worry about that anymore, then I'm okay with that.
That one's pretty rickety.
It's not great, I'll tell you what.
Yes. Yep, I know exactly which one you're talking. It's a cool bridge
Well, it's cool.
to look at. I don't know about driving.
You see the river underneath when you're driving on it.
Yeah, that one's rated for, I'd have like 6 tons or something. It's pretty low.
yeah, it's pretty low.
Might even be lower than that.
Okay, guys, what do you think about the contract with HGM?
So I'll make a motion to accept the HGM bridge inspection proposal.
And that would be 119,009.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Is that 1 or 2 contracts, Jake?
It's one contract,
contract,
and then we
okay.
can select,
Okay.
and I'm gonna select both.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with HGM for $119,000. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. Thank you, sir. We'll move back up to driveway variance for Marquis number 1. JP can drive on that.
All right, this one, first driveway variance we'll look at. Be this one here, and where's Mark? Yep. So Mark, we're gonna be utilizing this driveway here, correct?
Correct. And I was told that was a road. At one time, I was told it was a road that went all the way to the state school. Tim Chase, who lives not far away there, said when he was a kid that he took that road and went straight to state school. He said it was there before Highway 34 was ever there. It went all the way through.
It went all even up through here.
Yeah, and I said, well, that's before my time. But it's been,
Best parking road in Mills County.
it could have been. It could have been.
Put that in the minutes, please.
So this one, the reason we need the variance is because we're not outside the 300-foot mark of an intersection. 240th Street is a dead-end road. We get about 70 cars a day on this road here. This one I would be comfortable recommending for approval. Has adequate sight distance, meets all of our other requirements other than just the
Separation from the intersection.
from the intersection. Being that it's a dead-end road, it's not a busy intersection, I would feel comfortable recommending the approval of this variance here.
This is number 1.
park today,
For-
they use that
We call it
driveway
section
there
number
to
4.
get to the field
Section
back
4.
in there.
That's what it appears,
Entrance
so,
number
it
4.
appears so.
I would make a motion to approve driveway variance number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the driveway variance number 1, which would be at the intersection of Payne and 240th Street. Is there any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? No, motion carries. No, I shouldn't say no. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, the next one is in the same area. It's just right in here. There's an existing driveway. It's an old existing driveway. I believe it is right here. Yes, where that post is. It's hard to see. 'Cause it hasn't been used in a while, I would imagine. So Mark Hughes would like to put an entrance here. This is one of those tough situations because there is an existing entrance, but we are modifying it in the use. Would like to use for residential.
Correct.
So the way our ordinance reads, anytime we're modifying an entrance, whether it's surface type or use, then it triggers entrance application so that we can look at it for current standards. When we look at this one here, we do not have adequate sight distance because of this hill here. And even this little dip of a hill here. So this one is tough because there is an existing entrance. And kind of our reason for that rule in the ordinance is there's a lot of entrances out there that aren't to code. Who knows at what time? It was either before ordinance was in place or a farmer just pushed up some dirt and started using it. And it's just kind of always been that way. So when we're changing the use, it gives us an opportunity to say, hey, okay, is this something that we want to have on a road? And if so, let's modify it to get it to our standards.
If he was still farming that, would he be able to use it?
If he's using it as a farm entrance, yes.
Okay.
So if it's changing use, is kind of the big thing. If you're going to use it as a farm entrance, it's being currently used as a farm entrance. We're not in the business of going and taking away from people's current situations.
Sure.
They're existing. So looking at our current standards, we have 410 feet available site distance to the west and 505 feet to the east.
What is the county's speed limit on secondary roads or rock roads?
55 mile an hour. So
50 at night, isn't it?
yes,
I don't know.
I believe that is
I think
correct.
it's 50 at night.
Yep. And so our requirement for that is 610 feet is the site distance. And so both ways we don't meet it. And so that makes it hard because even if we shift it one way, then we're making the other one site distance smaller. Shift it this way, increase one, decrease the other. So for site distance reasons, I can't recommend it. I encourage Mark to come up to kind of discuss with you guys some different options. If there's potential shared driveway use or I'm not sure, but this one's good to have a discussion on.
Yeah, the driveway that's there, it's an existing driveway, and over 30 years I've been doing business in the county, I have never had an existing driveway denied. And I just don't think it's something that the board has done. I think a driveway is a driveway, and if it's been there, it's been able to be used. I just don't have any recollection of an existing driveway that I've been part of or any of my customers weren't able to use what was there.
I think it was, it's just my opinion, but it's got the proper drainage tube and everything in it, so I think it was
It's a tube
overseen by the county when it was put
Yes.
in, whenever it was put in.
Yep.
So,
There's
But it has a tube in it.
Correct.
Could you
Yes.
hook on, make make the driveway wider, or would that make it worse? That's just a question.
It won't help with the sight distance.
No, I know that, but as far as
What was the width
you're
you
looking at dividing
requested?
some land off there, right, Mark?
I want to divide a 10-acre
24
lot right off
lots.
that driveway that we're talking about right now, and
Okay.
build on top of the hill, which would be. Well, anyway, it's interesting. You guys have changed your whole room up. I haven't seen this new layout. It's nice. But I wanted to sell the 10-acre lot off, but I expect somebody to
It's
build
touchscreen.
a home up top there on top of this hill.
Well, it has a tube, it's an existing driveway. Mark, you and I drove out there yesterday. I didn't see any safety hazards to my opinion, so I would be comfortable with approving a variance. So I'll make a motion to approve driveway variance number 2.
We actually are calling it number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah, on here it was just easier to say 1 and 2 on the agenda, but so I guess I don't know how you want to make it.
Approximately 500 to 600 feet east of the intersection of 40th, close enough.
And I feel the same way. There's an existing drive there with a tube in it, so it's been used in prior years sometime. I don't think anybody that's bought property and stuff, farmers or business people, construction people, driveways are driveways if they're there.
If they're there, that's
Right.
been our past policy.
So I will second that motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the driveway variance number 2 or 5.
Yes.
205.
2 or 5.
I think 5 will make sense to you, but
East of 240th Street, approximately 550 feet. Is there any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Just to follow up, unless we specifically say something other than 55. 55 is the speed limit.
Is it really?
Yeah, unless it's posted 55 during the day and 50 at night, it's 55. Unless I'm just not seeing it in the ordinances.
Okay. That's some, look that up when you get a minute, just so we can all
sounds
You're
And I'll just
refreshed on
look at
it.
more than my phone and hopefully get better.
Right.
what code number is that?
I don't know what to do.
Well, got all your attention. I'm gonna give you a couple updates on something. We installed some cabinets down there at the annex, and they got the shelves and cabinet handles on yesterday.
Oh, good.
So that's
Yeah,
handled.
Richmond, holler me on that.
And then I'll let Tribal kind of update you a little bit on the annex building where we're at with, or not the annex, the maintenance building in Malvern.
We're all but done. I talked with Mark yesterday. He's gonna reach out to Agriland FS. That's where you guys sent your propane through.
Mark McVeigh.
And waiting on Agriland to set trench the pipe in and bring the pipe propane to the building. And Apollo will take it from there. So
That's the one right here.
Yeah, well, we got our electricity on there now.
electricity's on and all the lights and outlets.
Do we have a restroom in that one, water and sewer?
Yep.
Okay. Septic, or is that tied into Malvern?
Septic.
Okay.
We just cleaned out our storage container that we had our stuff in and got it all into the new building, so we can pick that up. They're gonna call the guys to pick that up here.
That's the one that was almost falling in, wasn't it? The insurance company gave us a hard time on.
We had the roof propped up with some 4x4s. I
Some
think.
sticks.
Mhm.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
That's all I have, unless you guys have anything for me.
No general discussion?
No.
You're saving on your salt and sand budget, so that's nice.
Definitely.
My son's down on the Gulf Coast, this far from the Gulf of America.
Yeah.
And, they have blizzard warnings, so they're shutting the entire interstate systems, and everything's just shut down. Don't have very many snowplows down there, so we can send the guys down there.
Yeah, I don't think we could get away with that.
It was expected
We're closed for the next
5
week.
to 7 inches of snow in
Yeah.
central Florida
Yeah,
today.
in Georgia. I'll pull that up after a meeting. There's just snow down there.
That's crazy.
Right. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Jake.
Mhm.
Make a note of that too. Look that up and
I will.
just attach us all on an
Yeah.
email if you could. Send that to us just so we all know.
Yeah.
I've always heard 55
I've
and
always heard
50 when
that.
I start, but I've never seen it in a code section anywhere. So
I can picture it in my mind where I read it. So
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I know we've discussed it before.
Okay. Because it even talks about business districts and residential too.
Right, right.
Okay.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, thank you.
The next thing on
I'm
the
gonna tell you guys, this is a nice setup in here.
it's all right. You're
Thank you.
gonna have a TV behind you too. So yeah.
Amber and I put a lot of hard work into moving this place.
You guys, it's a nice setup. Nice for us to look at the clock tower.
We've always had
Right
to
over
be.
your headline.
Yeah, the sign. We've always had to be a little strategic because our plug-in is,
Yeah,
I think it's under mass feed if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. It's close, so
this seems bigger. That's nice.
yeah, easier to in and out. All right, consideration and formal action advertising for building and zoning administrator. Somebody want to take the lead on this or?
Well, I'm the kind of the one that brought it up.
Yeah.
I know that the contract between Matt and us, the county, is coming up. I thought that if we had anybody else interested in being building and zoning administrator for Mills County, we could run that route. I've had calls from 2 or 3 different people that's interested in looking into it, filling out an application. So I didn't think it'd do any harm in looking and, might put some pressures on Matt that way. Come in a little cheap.
Make him sharpen his pencil, huh?
Yeah.
I talked to Matt a little bit. I think we need to advertise for the building and zoning administrator position. But in addition to that, we're looking at February 15th.
We've got time. Yeah,
is when his
nothing has to
contract.
happen tomorrow,
Yeah, so in my opinion, when we're advertising for the position, I would also like to, redo his contract for another year. And the reason being is in the contract, it states that any party at any time, whether it's Matt or the county, can terminate it within 30 days. So, if we find a qualified person for the job, somebody who can do the job that we expect them to do, that might be April, that might be September, it might be November. But we want to make sure we have somebody. We don't want building permits building up. I've been told there's some concerns with the contract currently as written, with a few different legal parties.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can reevaluate the contract a little bit, call just to see if there are any problems, actual problems. Trust but verify.
On both sides.
Exactly. And then moving forward, I think it's appropriate to advertise for the position, but then keep Matt on until we find someone qualified for the job.
And so I wanted to point out to you all real quick on the contract renewal piece of it. With this, we've always kind of strived to be something that pays for itself, right? The building and zoning department.
My whole goal was to make that department.
Right, and so I pulled up just a permit report real quick to show, what the permits have brought in so far since February 15th of last year through Monday, yesterday of it, and it was $100,000. $100,351 is the amount of permits that had come in so far.
Tuesday, that's 11 months.
Yeah, would be, well, just about, because it'd be to January 20th, so about one more month on there. I mean, the permits down here have been really good at that. For the budget wise, what I've been thinking as we've been going through this was that really Mills County was kind of ahead of the curve on a lot of these things with this agreement that we have, because as we're in budget time. The cost of what this is $75,000. And then there's no benefit package or anything that goes with that piece of it. Bringing employees on is expensive, and I think the Mills County budget package is around, or their benefits package runs around $50,000 when you add up if somebody were to come in and take family insurance and those things. Plus a few other budget additions that you'd want to make just for some training and some mileage on for that person. So you'd be right around $135,000, maybe a little bit more for a full-time employee into it. But those are just things for you all as the board to consider doing. I think, like I said, to me, I feel like it's been a great relationship. It's working out well. A few things left to do to get finished up, but
And on that note, just for clarification's sake, we don't just give you that 75. We give you, we give you 2,500 to do the budget.
in that original agreement there was some extra work that had to be done. Right, we came in and did an original valuation of the department
For 10 grand.
for 10 grand. And then there was the land use plan, finishing of the land use plan update. And I don't know how involved you were at the time with that piece of it. That land use plan update had kind of strung along for about a year and a half,
Yes.
maybe, with some contractors. So it was costing the county with some contracting outside of that. And I think it was kind of a little bit stuck in the process. So pushed that over the hurdle on that. And then updated the zoning ordinance to go along with that. So yeah, that first year, there was more expenses to it than just your zoning administration
Just
piece of it.
75, yeah.
Right, and it was always meant to be, when we talked that time, like moving forward, you were gonna see a great reduction in that because those larger projects weren't there now. And that'd be kind of like for one of your budget considerations is if you're going to do a major code update of some kind, so you're gonna revamp your your subdivision ordinance or something like that, where you may find, if you have a candidate down here or whatever, you may end up having to bring in a separate attorney to help write those pieces up for you if you don't have the right person in that spot to be able to write it for it. So there could be extra legal expenses and things that the county's paid for in the past when they brought in the solar and the wind piece of it. They brought in Beard Home to come down and write those ordinances. But yes.
Okay, what do you think, guys?
I would also just note in regards to any renewal contract, I've been informed, I don't know the details of it, that there was some question as to mandation of hours or like time to be worked within the contract. I'm unaware of any specific issues with that. Anything that comes up with that can be resolved in a renegotiation of the next term.
Yep.
I don't know what those specific issues are. I was told that the state auditor had some question about that. I'm confused as to why, quite honestly, though, because when this contract was developed around this time last year, I think we all remember there were a lot of eyes on this. There was our county attorney's office, Pot County Attorney's Office. We had counsel of Isaac assisting us with it. I believe the state auditor's office was involved with that as well at the time. Mike Galloway had some input on this. So I don't know whatever those. I have not gotten further details on what that specific
We'll get
issue
some more
is.
info here before we move on.
But assuredly, any issues with that or concerns about that can be amended for and dealt with in renegotiation of the next contract.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, I'll make a motion to advertise for building and zoning administrator.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to advertise for the building and zoning administrator. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll all be in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Mark Norman,
Hey,
front and center.
we got the group here.
Make Larry come up with you.
Everybody is.
Larry likes sitting up front.
John, you get up there.
I'll sit down.
Mr. President, yeah, he's got to step up here too.
Yeah.
Age before beauty.
I know that's true.
I know you're done with that last topic, but you guys, I think we sent you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So, nothing wrong with certainly applying for somebody, but if hopefully you can find somebody as good as Matt. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're hard to find. Just from our group standpoint, so we're talking about economic development, that's been a big issue. You know, we've all been in here a few times with the comprehensive plan and all that kind of stuff. And it's important anyway to economic development that we have somebody in place that enforces things, looks things over, and does things. I know that's always a big issue in Mills County because they get land use and property rights and all that kind of stuff. But I don't even remember, Lonnie, how long ago it was we did zoning in this town. Or Richard, do you
All
remember?
blended lives together.
20 years?
Yeah,
I remember what a big deal it was.
yeah.
It's a big deal. So hopefully, if you're looking for somebody, you find somebody that's as good as he is, and you can do it within your budget.
He's still in here, so quit
That's
swallowing his
good.
head.
See, oh, that's good. I'm glad he's here. But anyway, that's all. Just a comment. But Mark, why don't you update him on economic development?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Hope everybody's doing well. I don't know if you were for Ohio State or for Notre Dame, but
Notre
Big
Dame.
Ten.
oh,
Yeah.
Big Ten. There you go. Okay, yeah. So anyway, I don't know, how these updates have occurred in the past, but we want to make sure that we're coming on a regular basis to the board and be able to update and answer any questions that you have. I'll just kind of start updating you on a few projects. If you have questions, please feel free to jump in and ask those. Again, I know there's a question of, it can't be too open as to what's going on, but certainly can try to do that. So Cattleman's project, of course, everybody is aware of that project and where things are at.
Is it on again or is it off again?
I would say it's a little bit on again. So they've been talking with the city of Council Bluffs on the sewer.
Sure.
Again, that's the big kind of obstacle that they've been facing is how do they pay for that sewer? And those numbers have been, pretty high.
Mhm.
And so I think they have determined that they've really kind of got to access the Council Bluffs wastewater system in order to make it a feasible project. So I don't know if they have an answer yet exactly on can it occur, and if it can occur, what that cost may be to them. But they did have the grant from the state of Iowa that they could utilize for the sewer. And they had to really say what they were going to use that for by the end of 24 because those ARPA dollars. And so they had to say what it was for, and now they have to expend it within, I think, 2 years, so the end of 26. So they're working with Council Bluffs on that. As part of that, as probably you're aware, if Council Bluffs does take them through the wastewater system, that will require an annexation process as well. So they did send a letter to Council Bluffs requesting voluntary annexation. That will probably go hand in hand with the other project on the other side of the interstate that has also gone through that voluntary annexation request to do that. So notices probably are going to go out probably mid-February to kind of adjacent landowners, and I'm assuming it goes out to all the governmental entities as well. That process will take several months, and so probably not until June or July is that going to be complete. So I think once they determine can they work through the sewer issue, that will then help them finalize their capital stack and if they're able to move forward with that. So continuing to have conversations with them, helping them where I can, but that's kind of where they're at with Cattleman's right now.
The other project, just a quick, the other project
Yeah.
versus Cattleman's, which one has a better?
So the one on the other side of the interstate probably is moving much more. The financing isn't a question. So I would say that project is probably going to be higher probability of occurring. The big thing they're working on right now is trying to finalize their costs and their utility costs, determine what the flood elevations are, because they want to elevate that site obviously so that they can get, some safety there. They're working with the state of Iowa to determine what that flood elevation will be. That then would determine where their utilities are, how deep they have to be, and do they need pump stations, or how all that's going to work. So once they figure that out, that'll be a big help. Looking at costs, how it's going to work. They did apply for a Department of Energy grant. They were supposed to hear on that by last week. I think they got what they say warm fuzzies from the DOE. But I think with the new administration coming in and their kind of stance on some of those grants and the electrification process, not sure how that's going to work yet. So they're being cautious about that, but that would be a positive. So the question would be then is if they're using electrical for all of their processes or they'll utilize natural gas. So working on those issues. So I'm going to say it's probably, again, for a project like this, it's a no-risk situation. So they want to go through all of the processes, make sure they understand that, yes, everything is in place for them to do the project. So when they say, yes, we're going to do it, it's basically everything's done and they can just put a shovel in the ground and start working. I don't expect that to happen in probably until mid-year, June, July issue as well, time frame as well.
The weather's fine.
Pardon?
Like if they start the day, the weather's fine.
They probably could. It would be good solid ground, that's for sure. But things are looking well there. We're having a weekly call with the consultant. Those are on Fridays, and just make sure that we're working through that process. They will go through everything. So they will probably look at a RISE grant. Anticipate that would be potentially a joint application between City of Council Bluffs, Pottawatomie County, and Mills County to provide additional strength to that. Any of those dollars that would require the match for that would come through the TIF process.
So we have 2 RISE grants possibly moving?
Possibly, if the Cattleman's moves forward. I think the Cattleman's probably be on a little bit later time track, but that could be there as well.
That's one that was on again, off again.
Where are we in that process? Because we had the money and then I think we've just started all over again.
With Jake, yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I do know that Pot County is going to pave that road down to the range.
To the firing range?
They're gonna hard surface the road from the rifle range back.
Oh, okay. That's certainly the frontage road to where Echo is.
Well, what's Dinky Pot or Mills County gonna do? And I says, we're gonna just let you do it all.
They're kind of in the dirt.
They're gonna annex you, they should let them do it all.
Yeah.
And so, so with the Cattleman's project too, I would anticipate any RISE grant would more than likely be a joint thing as well, but we'll see. But those are still things we're going to be working on. So with the other project on the east side of the road, that'll probably be starting to heat up here in the next couple of months, and we'll be able to kind of move that forward. Again, both of them are still going to provide pretty significant dollars to the county. With those property tax dollars coming in, so it'll still be a positive for the process as we move forward. We did have another project that came and did a site visit, one kind of at the mid-December, and we came back again the first part of January to bring another person, again, kind of looking in that same area up by the Bungie Avenue area. This would be, again, a fairly large agricultural project. That would require a lot of support from various farmers in the area to produce some of the product that they would need. And so don't know if that's going to be moving forward with us or not. I mean, they're looking at a couple spots in Nebraska as well. But if they do, have some interest in us, we would probably be working with a couple of the farmer corn growers and different things like that in the area to kind of talk a little bit about how farmers could get involved in the area. And it would be a fairly large area, probably within about 100 miles or 150 miles of wherever they determined to put the plant, that where farmers could get involved in supporting them in this. And it's a great process. It's a great national company that everybody would be familiar with to do that. Potentially 1,000 jobs, between the plant and the farmer, it's potentially $1 billion project. So pretty large, pretty significant economic impact in the area. So it'd be a great project. If we don't make this one, there could be another one down the road, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So, but it's moving forward. So, yeah. Other items, continuing to talk. I know Jake, has talked with you about the Pacific Junction and with Feed Energy, continuing to work with that. Hopefully, we can get that moving forward so that they can put those additional spurs on the line.
It's still somewhat of a standstill right now, isn't it?
It is. I think the farmer was.
Yeah,
I think the farmer.
they want to do it. I mean,
Feed Energy does.
committed.
Yeah. I think they're just waiting for that
On the
official
GME
closing.
side, heard some things.
Yeah, official closing. So I think the farmer was questioning.
Yeah.
On their land or wherever it should be. So hopefully that can move forward and solve those type of things. So.
And then seeing Andy, the mayor back there, that we want you to know we're trying to get things going in PJ, but the railport study, maybe touch on a little bit.
So the railport study should be complete. I'm going to say towards the end of February. Currently, the activity is doing a return on investment analysis, which is what's the benefit of putting it in for potential industry users that would come in and access those transload facilities. And so once that's done, they'll incorporate that into the full plan. Burlington Northern, I think, has looked at the proposed layout and approved that. So it's really just wrapping that up and then putting that forth for us. So we should be able to see that here within the next 30 days or so.
Someone down there that can get us some rock.
Yeah, they'll need it.
Yeah, we need it too.
Okay. But
GMU study you just got.
so the GMU study we just received. So good study. A lot of different options there to consider. So I think we'll have to take a look at.
We had to design it 2 different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you got the mega site.
Yeah.
The mega site, and then also they incorporated potential for catamins.
Right.
And so fairly expensive as we anticipated it would be. But the question is, probably a rate study. Again, that's not my area, but I mean, a rate study probably would be.
The rate study's coming up in the next, that'll happen in the next 6 months.
No, the next 6 months or something. Okay. To determine, how do you pay for something like that if you're going to do that, which is the best option, because there's a lot of different options to do that. So we'll be, I'm sure, meeting with the GMU folks to kind of talk about what are the different options, how we as the economic development organization can help support that and move that forward. Obviously, having a project that can utilize and have a good bill and that would come in, it will be very helpful. So we'll do that.
We definitely want to thank the county for that.
Yes, thank you.
Through our economic development, you guys help. We use some of those funds to help GMU do the study to include the mega
cost
site.
on that more or less.
And that's another box you could check with Mid-American and site developers, because they can say, okay, what's the water? So at least we have a study now. So that's very helpful.
So that's moving forward. Going to be taking a look here over the next month on other areas that we could be looking at to submit from an industrial manufacturing warehouse distribution perspective. And so that's, I know there's been a lot of talk around 34 interchange and what we can do there. Where else on 34 might we be able to do that? So kind of going to be kind of taking an inventory and saying, what are good sites, what are viable sites, what has to happen, in order to make them viable, but hopefully just move some of those options forward. So again, the more product we can put out there to prospective industry looking at our area, the better chance that we'll have in order to attract them. So kind of be moving that forward as well. So keeping busy. John, Larry, any other items you think?
The only thing I'd touch on real quick is the Glenwood Resource Center. I mean, I know you've had people in here talking to you about different things. And, you know, I think we've publicly said if anybody needs to reach out to anybody that's on the committee, we'd certainly answer their questions. We've, you know, what we put in the paper here has probably been, could be longer than I think, 90 days ago or whatever, or on KMAs. Really, we're not that much farther along with it. The Glenwood Redevelopment Corporation owns nothing. All we're doing right now is working with the state. You know, we can say this, that we've been waiting on those SHPO results, the environmental and all those results, and it's done. It needs to be tweaked, but we did hire, the Redevelopment Corporation is going to hire HDR to be our consultant. So they've been working with the state archaeologist and the SHPO folks, which are under the Iowa Economic Development Authority, to make sure they're okay with some of the things they found. They did find things. It's impossible not to find someone on that site. But what they said verbally, and we're moving forward with it, is there's nothing there to prevent us from developing. You know, if you were to go in and knock a building down and find human remains, you're going to have to stop. You have to contact whatever they believe they found, and then, you know, move that. You know, you'd have to stop the whole project and get things moving, just like they do on highway jobs or anything else. So that would slow you down, but it doesn't sound like it's anything like where they'd say you cannot build there. So we're moving forward. All indications are this is going to happen. The state has certainly committed some large dollars. I think you guys are aware that the city of Glenwood just agreed to take over the 2 new roads that are going to be built up to the campus, which was huge because every developer we ever talked to said, if you're going to build housing or whatever it is you do up there, if we don't have access off 34, it's not going to work. So that commitment's been made by the DOT, and it's going to happen. And it's a $4.5 to $5 million commitment, and then the city of Glenwood will be responsible for those roads. But they're brand new roads. They've been reviewed by HDR. You know, the Iowa Department of Transportation did all the design, so everybody's very pleased with the 2 roads that are going to be built there. You know, I guess we're also working very closely with Glen Haven Nursing Home and with the Glenwood Community School District, who's decided to stay in the building they're in. We've gone from different buildings up there, but I think they've made a good decision budget-wise. This is where they are. This is what they've got to do. And it sounds like budget-wise, they're going to be able to get everything done in Building 103. So our challenge right now is to try to get the infrastructure to them completed so that when June 30th, which is the cutoff date, comes about, that and the power plant closes down, that they'll already be connected, and then we can just move forward with whether that's demolition or planning. The other big issue we're trying to work on right now, we don't have agreements from the state, which is why things are moving so slowly, is we need to hire a master developer. That's the key. I mean, nobody in this room knows how to take 200 acres and make it into housing and mixed-use commercial and where the roads should go and all that kind of stuff. So you have to hire like a master developer. So we're trying to get that done with the SHPO report finalized so that we can take those RFPs and hand them to potential master developers so they can see that plan. And then they tell us, as I understand it, you will ask them to give you input. You won't really give them a whole lot of criteria. You say, you sell us on the fact that you know what you're doing and whether or not you can, put in the right roads or where you're going to put housing. You guys are probably aware we've worked real closely with that Arch Icon, that Todd Heist stand that remodels all those buildings in Omaha. And quite frankly, he's out of Woodbine. Highly recommended. He's been very helpful during the process. They would be one group that they'll get an RFP. At one point, they were so busy, we didn't think we were going to be able to get a hold of them, but now they've shown a better interest. So we still need to go through that process. The biggest holdup right now is we have nothing from the state. We have no contract. And they were going to give us this contract back in November. Still don't have a contract. You guys will find it's hard to believe, but the attorneys at the state level are looking at this. So it's moving slowly. Quite frankly, I think the states move pretty quickly based on my little experience with government. So. What's that?
They want to get rid of it. So
yeah, no, they want to get it done. The other thing we're trying to do, it's out there, so I think we can say this publicly. We're trying to have the transfer happen March 1st, if we can, with a separate agreement with the state to continue to maintain the power plant and other things on that campus through June. And the reason we want that transfer to happen is no construction can happen on that site until the state no longer owns it. So that's our challenge. And we've told them, the Redevelopment Corporation has said, we're definitely willing to do all that. But we have to be confident when you hand this thing over to us that we know what we're getting and that you're still committed between March and June to get all the buildings decommissioned, pipes drained, make the thing winterized. Because what we've been told by the one consultant we're using, those buildings could sit there for quite a long time as long as you shut them down properly. They're not going to fall apart. They're in pretty good condition. Some of them, a lot of them could be torn down, but we really don't know. And what we really want to do is get it in our possession, get Glen Haven and the school system hooked up permanently, and then take a deep breath and say, okay, what is it we really want to do? Get the master developer hired and buy ourselves some time. We won't be in such a big hurry. The reason we're in such a big hurry right now is for Glen Haven and the school system, quite frankly. And we want to help them. We want to get it done. What's that?
They need hooked up.
Well, they got to be hooked up. Otherwise, I think everybody, Lonnie, you'd understand this. Maybe all you guys would, but it's a very antiquated system up there. GMU's, Jake Zimmer with Eagle has been very helpful, but every time they shoot a camera through a sewer line up there, it's got roots all over it, and it's got wrong piping, and GMU doesn't want to take that over. Mid-American Energy doesn't want to take it over. The gas company doesn't want to take it over. The internet company has to run all new internet. Again, it's back to what everybody in this town understands. It's a bad deal. Nobody likes the fact that the resource center closed, but it did. So now we are where we are. And I can understand the public saying, well, what's going on up there? Well, that's fair. Believe me, though, there's a group that's working on this that's trying to do the best thing they can to get possession of it so that at least we give ourselves a chance to redevelop it. Now, is the little pot of money they're giving us going to be enough? We won't know until we start doing it. Until we hire a master developer and say, okay, what's it going to take? What buildings, if we have to tear some down, how much is that going to cost? If we're going to remodel the women's cottage and the other buildings up there that we've kind of designated to be apartments or condominiums, what's that going to cost? It's a long process. But if we can get to the point where we can take possession, get those other entities hooked up, and then, be thoughtful in our planning process, that's kind of the goal, to get it development ready. And if all we do is get it development ready, maybe it isn't housing. Maybe something changes. Maybe we go, well, but we got everything up here that we need. So who knows? I guess the thing I would say is it's hard to be patient, but we just need to be patient. That's all we can do. So that's kind of a quick update. And I think our group is, if we need to have anybody talk, I know Richard's been he's on our group. And just so you know, I guess it's myself and Angie Winquist is now there as a representative of the city. Richard's for the county. Amber's been on it. She was with the city, and then Mark's on it, and Doug Brisson we added because we hired HDR now. So
Mark Lincoln.
And Mark Lincoln. Yeah, how could I forget that? And then we're going to expand that group. There's a lot of people asking, well, how do you get on it? We've kind of reached the conclusion right now. We told the Glen Haven folks and the school folks that they wanted to have somebody on it and a voice, and they have a voice. But quite honestly, we've kind of, over time, we've said, you guys never wear your Glenwood Redevelopment Corporation hat. The hat you wear is the school system or the nursing home, which is totally understandable. But when you're sitting in a meeting with the redevelopment folks, you can't have that hat on. You can give us input, but what's the best thing for the overall campus? And so we've kind of decided once we get them situated and get them hooked up, then we're going to have representation from them, because then they'll be taken care of and we won't have conflict necessarily. Not that there's been conflict, but it would be hard for Devin or Nicole to have their Glenwood redevelopment hat on when they're trying to get the school system taken care of. Totally understandable. So anyway, that's a quick update. Any questions on that or anything?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I like your setup.
Come back anytime, Mark.
All right.
Yeah, well, we plan on being back on a regular basis. So
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Tara Painter.
Next.
Yes, you-
I am the library director here in Glenwood,
Nice to meet you, ma'am.
and I brought a little bit of stuff for y'all. I thought this would be a great chance to sort of review sort of how libraries here in Iowa. So talking about counties, there is an accreditation standard. So our state library sets our standards for us. And they're just best practices, things that most libraries all around the country do. And that is the one that's specific to counties, and it's just funding. To go along with that, this document that I'm giving you has it's very truncated. It doesn't have every library. The original document is like 18 pages long. But in yellow, you see our Mills County libraries. They're all organized by size. So A means the smallest size, all the way through E, we're the big guy. And so that's got.
Or the big guys.
Yeah, well,
Great.
I get a medium-sized library everywhere I go. And so in that document, with the highlight, you see that how much all the funding sources that libraries have. That's all of them. There's no other funding sources. Even donations are included in here. We see other income, non-governmental income that'll normally be your donations. And then it's got a per capita at the very end. The only question I had is, Emerson, they had you in 2023 as having no county funding. Is that accurate? I don't think so. Yeah, so that one is wrong. I don't know why. But all the rest read true. So that's information about our funding. One of the things we do as part of our accreditation standards is we count everything we do. We count. It's a lot of numbers. I have made another very truncated, the report I have for my library is much, much longer than this, but I truncated to some of the more interesting statistics for you on this. And then I've kind of made them fancy schnazzy here on our annual report. So you see that we had 31,969 visits to the library in 2024, 2,280 computer users, 4,651 members who borrow books. But you see also the ebooks and audiobooks as really a big, that number has dramatically increased this year. We have got we have two services, Libby, which is through the state library and is fairly easy to pay for. And then Hoopla is a little more expensive because every single thing someone checks out, we have to pay for that item. The bigger libraries are dropping it. We don't know how much longer we'll be able to keep it, but it's extremely popular. When we did our survey of people, what do you like about your library? Hoopla was on there over and over and over again. So we're going to do our best to keep that resource. You see we had 318 programs, and you can see the number of people who attended. One thing we're really proud of, you'll see on the very plain sheet here, is for our summer reading, we had 351 kids and 80 teenagers. And that's very much like our early out Wednesdays. We'll have 70 to 100 kids in the library, which, if you've been to our library, is quite small, and it's a challenge. We have to man every room in the building to make sure that they're behaving appropriately. But we're glad to provide that service to our community because they just don't have any place else to go. There seems to be one other program going at the Y. And that's it. There used to be like 3 or 5 different things going on, but we're kind of it right now. So we do provide snacks and drinks and try to give them a safe space to hang out. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
I do not, but I always thank you for bringing information in. It's good to hear from the libraries whenever we can. Oh, we see kids coming in and out of there.
Yes, we stay busy. And the computer usage has really become stronger recently. There's so many things now you can only do by computer. Applying for jobs, doing your unemployment benefits. We do leave space for kids to do gaming too. It's one of the things, being able to have that safe social space supervised by adults. There's something else I was going to mention.
You get 2,200 users, 2,300 computer users. How many computers do you have there?
Public access computers, we have 11.
11? Okay.
One of them is in the genealogy department, is devoted for genealogy.
Sure.
The rest are the average use. Yep. And one of the things you'll see is how many reference questions we still get. People still come and ask us all kinds of things. That number always surprises me, how high that is. One of the things that happens, one of the reasons we count everything is we want to know what services we're actually providing, because you go, oh, I was awful busy today. And then, but what was that day like? Was it that you spent 30 minutes with someone on the computer, or was it that you had 15 patrons come in and check out books? And so this helps us keep an accurate sense of what we're actually doing for the community, what the community actually needs. We do our strategic plan every 3 to 5 years. One part of our plan is always going to be early literacy, because that is a niche that we provide here in Glenwood. And then the second one is usually something we see that we feel like we're not managing. And this last strategic plan was marketing. We got so tired of hearing people say, oh, you do that at the library, you can do this at the library. And we really felt like that we needed to bring to the community the information that they were lacking. There was one person online who's like, wow, I've lived here 12 years. I didn't know we had a library. That felt like something we really needed to address. So we're obviously most of our marketing is going to be in social media, because it is free, and that's just, we don't have a marketing budget, but we do have talent and resources to get that stuff going.
You see, on your state income, you received about 3,500 from the state just last year.
Yeah.
Year before. Hiawatha got 97,000. What did they do to get?
I cannot tell you what most of the funding we get from the state. There's one grant that is based on our accreditation. That we're level 3, so we get this money. That's 2,400. The rest of it is because we'll do interlibrary loan. In fact, I'm going to guess Hiawatha has a lot of contracting cities. With a contracting city, they're a city who doesn't have their own library.
Yeah, a huge number.
Yeah, that's a community that doesn't have their own library. So when they contract with you, they pay you a fee, and then secondly, the state will pay you for each transaction. So that's an additional funding from the state. We don't currently have any contracting cities.
They give you more money if you don't have a library, then?
No, it gets the contracting library.
Sure.
We not only get the money from the city, but each transaction, we get money from the state for that.
Okay.
Last time I think it was almost $1.68 per transaction. It adds up.
Okay.
It adds up. Yep.
Just a big number. That's why I asked her.
Yeah. Then I tried to grab just random. I didn't pick and choose. I did leave quite a few, like Atlantic is on there, Florinda, some of our neighbors.
Yeah, everyone else is 3,000 to 7,000, and they're 97,000. It was just
that'll be contracting.
Jumped out of me. So
that's the only place where you can really add on, because you do interlibrary loan and you get paid back for that, which is really nice right now, because we do have a service where we don't have to use the postal service anymore.
Sure.
We have a courier service, which is fairly new. So any of the money we're getting from the state is merely for our efforts.
Okay.
It's not making it for postage anymore.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ready?
Anyone else from the libraries?
Sorry.
No. You're good, Greg.
Come on up.
It's a Terrapin and the Mills County Library, so I don't want to leave any of you guys out. So
I'm from Silver City Library, and I'm new this year as a director. I've been on the board previous year, but I'm new this year as a director, so it's very different. And I just listed, pardon me, I'm not going to read it because I left my classes at home. I just been there since late March, and I just listed everything that we have done so far this year since I've been there. Prior to that, I wasn't on the board, so I have no idea what was happening. So that's just some of the programming, and of course we provide snacks and drinks. And then we did update our front lighting, and we painted the interior of the building this year.
do a lot of the kids still get dropped off the bus?
They walk down. Yeah, it's not as busy as it was, I think, with the previous librarian, but I believe she was using it more as a daycare center.
Sure.
So I'm trying to make it equal, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm providing more programming for the older people too.
Okay,
so before, I know we really didn't do much of that. The big thing this year for the older people were questions on their Medicare, because some of their plans got dropped. So I had a Medicare insurance lady come in and talk, and then they made appointments to come back and meet at the library to find their plans. So that was a big help.
Good place for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The front page is just some boring statistics that
Thank you.
Tara did much better than me at. And then attached is just some things that we did in the last year. So in the fall and winter months, we're only open 12 hours. And in the summer, we're open 18. So keep that in mind when you're looking at statistics. Our summer reading program last year, we had 68 kids signed up, which compared to Tara is not much, but for our little town, it was a lot. We do have an adult book club. We've had a lot of adult programming that we're trying to reach out to as well. Sorry. No, you're all right. So we do use the interlibrary loan for our book club books. So that's been super helpful too, because that is a service that we are offered and take advantage of.
Excellent.
And down at the bottom, you'll see that we work with the East Mills Life Skills. They come every other week, and we do, we were doing STEM kits with them, but now they are asking us to provide like vocational services for them. So we do have one gentleman that we've worked with, the Iowa Vocational, they're out of Council Bluffs, and they have asked that we start to pay him. They reimburse us. So he's coming every week and does odd jobs around the library and works with me on the computer and stuff. So.
Good.
Yeah.
Any questions for the libraries, guys?
Just comment, all the library stuff do great jobs in all our communities.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate it, whether it's children, the elderly or what, like your Medicare and stuff. It gave them some communication with each other. I mean, it gives stability to the community. And we as a board, we really appreciate that.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
You guys are kind of undercover out there. We don't know what's going on until you show up here one time a year and tell us about it. So
Thank you.
pat yourselves on the back.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Schultz, you're up.
Since I snuck in early.
You're all right.
Okay. The
Kittleson
Yeah.
reimbursement contract is.
Alexis is here. We've had a conversation about this in the past. Alexis has decided to take a career step.
We didn't approve her resignation, so she's stuck.
Well, I think you might have. I slipped that in. So, but anyway, Alexis is under contract. She came over from Glenwood at the time. We bought out our contract from the city of Glenwood. The way it was set up was 90%, 60%, 30% over a 4-year period. She's at 13 months left on her contract. When we spoke earlier, I just asked for consideration to either change the contract to a monthly, or that 48-month just divided over the 48 months and have monthly, or I think you had mentioned perhaps the opportunity, the other way to go would be the 1 year, since we're close to that 1 year. It should be 30% of the contract, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. But I also invited Alexis here to at least come kind of give her side of the story. And if she wants to make a plea, she's more than welcome. So, Alexis, did you have anything you want to know?
So as Sheriff had stated, I accepted a position with State Patrol. Upon providing my letter of resignation to him, I received information from the county attorney's office with the monetary amount that I still owed the county, stating that there were no provisions or prorated options. From my last day of employment to my 3-year mark is less than a month, I believe 28 days. And that drastically changes the amount from 11,000 to about 5,000. So a 28-day difference is what I'm requesting. We take those 11 months into consideration and knock me down to either monthly or the 30%. When I was crunching numbers, the monthly would have been about $354 that I would pay the county back per month owed, which would be 13 months, which would equate to about $4,600. And I believe also one of the contract agreements was that the amount would be paid on my final day. Obviously, I do not have $11,000 to give the county on the 25th. With the amount being dropped, if you guys would consider the 4,600, that being 354 monthly, I would be able to pay the lump sum at the end of the state academy. And that's kind of what I'm hoping that you guys will consider and what I'd be willing to do to get the lump sum to the county.
And this would be able to be done through the current contract under Section 8. The agreement may be amended in writing upon the mutual consent of both parties, so between the county and yourself.
And from now on, these contracts are gonna be written.
Yeah. John
With
and
the
I,
sheriff and law and run through us first. instead
Correct.
of Just
yeah, John and I are currently working
not
on.
blaming you at
Yep,
all.
no, I remember hearing all
Right,
about
right,
it.
right,
Yep.
right, right.
Yeah, we're working on changing the language for the
Yeah.
contract, making it a little bit, I guess the verbiage is definitely gonna change. And yeah, before we get to the point of having to sign another contract, which ideally we're gonna have this hammered out by next Tuesday, so that you can see it next Tuesday, because I'm gonna ask you to hire somebody to replace Alexis, and that person's gonna have to sign a contract. So,
Well, gentlemen,
If I understand this right, she's asking us to accept the $4,600 payment. Is
it'll
that
be
correct?
11,000 versus 4,600, correct? Over, but if you were here another 28 days, it would be 4,600.
Correct.
I have no problem accepting 46 instead of 11.
Well, I'll make a motion then that the county board has listened to both sides and our lawyer and things, so I would make a motion that we accept the $4,600 payment.
Second.
and just-
Per code, part of the contract, can you throw that in there?
Yeah, so what I'm gonna
Resolution?
do is I will write a amended portion and I will get that to her to sign, and then we'll have it on the agenda for,
Keep the legal circle.
yeah, so that way
Thank you.
she'll sign the amended written portion, and then next Tuesday, the board will sign off.
You
And
just remember this when we're speeding down the interstate.
Well, it sounds, in a way, it sounds pretty ridiculous that we have these people, and I realize we trained and then we ask them to pay, and then all of a sudden she has a chance to advance on. And then before you can advance, you're going to pay this. So,
We're still money ahead for not putting her through the academy.
right. And that's the way I look at it. So, I have no problem with making this adjustment. So,
Well, thank you. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you, I appreciate it very
Yes.
much.
It hasn't passed yet, so we have a motion in a second. We have a motion in a second to approve the $4,600 even. $0
Dollar amount.
It was
versus.
4602.
We're gonna get the $2
Yeah.
right here.
Hey, that's
4602 versus the $11,000 due to the timing of her contract and per the
For the
contract
contract.
itself. Yes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I,
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, I don't have for you. We're waiting on Carl Chevrolet to send this disposal contractor agreement in writing. Received
Still in the
text
tote up there? Or-
No, this would have been the Charger that I drove right after I got sworn into office. We took it down, had it dismantled. We have the option to trade it on the services for the upfitting of the new vehicles, rather than have to bring it back and try and go through the sale process. However, Carl Chevrolet has now provided us the number that we agreed upon in writing. It's just been done via phone call and text message. So until I have that, I'm just going to ask to.
so you just want to table this?
Yes, sir, please. Item number 3.
Highway deputy.
Yes. I have a letter for you. We'd like to hire Camille Porter. She's uncertified and will have to attend the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy. She'll have the 1-year probationary period, and her starting salary will be $61,933. Her start date will be January 30, 2025.
And she has not been through the academy? Or
She has not.
She has not. Okay.
We have plans to send her through there's an academy start date right around the 1st of May, which will get her through the majority of her field training program, our field training program, before she hits the academy. We found historically that works really well. They go into the academy with a good knowledge base of what's going to happen and how the real world works, not just the book side.
Yep.
So we're excited. I'm impressed with her. She seems like a great candidate. So
She live around here. Not that that's important.
she's Red Oak.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion for hiring a new deputy, Camille Porter.
Correct.
Kamille.
CA.
CA.
Yep.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to hire Camille Porter as the new deputy for Mills County Sheriff for the starting salary of $61,933, and she still has to go through the academy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Anything I need to sign or
Nope. I slid that over to.
good with Amber and
Yep.
Jolene?
Yep. Correct. Next item on for discussion is the jail hood quote. We have been having some issues with our jail, the hood over the.
Really?
Yeah, hard to believe. Well, it's been 11 years. It's about time for everything to start falling apart. I'm gonna come to you
Started
next.
long before 11 years.
Yeah, we got some requests out for some bids on a new microwave too that's coming. So I don't have that yet, but it's coming. The microwave is gone as long as it possibly could, but it's a larger industrial super duper one. So it's coming as well. It's just part of our process as we age the building out. The appliances are starting to fall apart. But anyway, the bid, it's up for a 12-year maintenance. So hopefully we're going to be able to limp this thing along a little bit longer. But we think it's going to work out just fine. We have confidence. They came down and took a look at it. They're going to do this look over. They think they can replace the parts necessary to get at least another 5 years or so, which is good. But the total price for materials are $1,213. The labor is $675. There's an additional fee that I can't get in the way of $55 for a total of $1,943, and that's through Johnson Control. And once I have your approval, I should just be able to sign that and get the process going.
I'll make a motion to approve $1,943 for, I'm just gonna call it kitchen repair.
That's fine.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve Johnson Controls to do some work on the kitchen and the kitchen hood for the fee of $1,943. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Next item.
UTV.
Yeah, UTV. So Sergeant Ruse put in for a grant recently in Amber. I don't remember who the grant ultimately came through.
Through the Omaha Community Foundation to Southeast Iowa.
Yep. So the grant would cover $16,000 the cost of a new UTV. It was awarded and we received the check last week or earlier this week. Last week,
Sorry,
I
how
think.
much did that cover?
16,000.
16,000.
Yep. So what we ended up doing, Sergeant Ruse, Lieutenant Mather, called around to all of the local UTV dealers to get what we think would be best for our department for whether you run the trace, whether you're going cross country, whatever you got to do. We did a couple things. We went with a 4-seater side by side in case we have to haul personnel in there, and it's also going to be heated. And it's going to have doors. That was the things that we really thought were the most important to have. We checked around locally as well as some of the ones that were recommended to us that seemed to be most law enforcement friendly. We ended up with the lowest bid. Came from Vern Ide Autoplex. Vern Ide. out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the total was $27,995. We once we got that price, we actually went back to all the locals and asked if they would match it. We had one say yes, we would match it, but it was orange, so we'd have to paint it, which kind of defeats the purpose of. So this one will be blue.
That is a good price.
That's a fantastic price
Especially with the
for.
grant.
Yeah. So we have money in our budget to cover the difference in the cost. So we're confident that we can cover that, no problem. Because the difference would be the $11,995. But I need your permission to do so.
Well, I'm gonna give it to you. I'll make a motion to purchase a UTV from Burn ID, $27,995,
Less 16.
using the $16,000. So minus 16. What are we looking at?
What make brand is it? No, it's not the
2025 Polaris Ranger Crew
Polaris. Wow.
XP 1000. And then, like I said, the color will be
That's a
blue
good buy.
blue slate.
Wow.
I can tell you this much wholesale. I don't in Atlantic. There's at least 5 higher than that.
Yeah, we checked with them. They came down pretty good.
Yeah.
But they weren't quite this low. The retail price on it was $34,494. Like I said, they came down to $28,296 plus there's some dock fees, $199, which brought it up to actually then there was a rebate for $500, so it's that's how we got that $27,995. It's a very good price. We were very excited.
Yeah.
We'll just have to roughly get it either get this week or first part of next week.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the 2025 Polaris 1000 from Vern ID. Where are they out of?
Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls.
Pick it up when you're at Okoboji this week.
You could do that.
For the cost of $27,995 less $16,000 grant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Good move.
That's all I have for you today.
We can get a trailer to haul it. That's
We
the,
have to
that'll be
we have
next.
to pull mine up. I think the one we have out back is not quite big enough, but we'll make it work. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth.
Trying our best.
Trying your best.
Efficient.
Okay. So a couple of different things. One was just to let you know about the folders. It is a purchase over 500. I have gotten, thank you. I have gotten approval from my commissioners in December. Last time we purchased these was a year and a half ago in October 23. The total with shipping for 100 was $813. You might not have seen them. I know these gentlemen
Yeah,
have.
they're cool.
Yeah, they're really nice. And this year, the price that we can tell so far, we don't know shipping exactly, but it's about $50 more. So it'll be a total of $860. We're assuming with shipping. What's nice about these, just for your benefit, Jack, we use these with veterans that maybe have larger claims. So people just come in with questions, obviously, or something simple. We don't pass these out. But it is a good organizational tool. And what we like, of course, is it's advertising. So we do consider this part of our outreach. So we do have money in the outreach budget as well for that.
Helps them keep everything organized too. It's a great tool.
Oh, it really, really is. And every time we bring it to, when we have an opportunity to bring it to some of our state training, we share it with the other counties. And now we have other people buying them. So, yeah, so we're real happy with them. So that, and then I just wanted to give you a brief update, if I could, of where we are with our numbers since the start of the year. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
I'd make a motion to approve. How many was you getting? 100?
100.
100 folders for $860.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of some claim folders for $860 for Veterans Affairs. Is there any discussion?
So you bought these close to a year and a half ago, and they're almost all gone. So
They're out. Yeah.
Oh, they're out.
They're
so,
out. Yeah, we're pretty much out. Yeah.
Well, good. We need to get you some more of them. People enjoy them that much.
Well, and we're that busy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's a
but
good
people
thing.
do like them. Yeah.
Good.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now you're up.
Okay, well, just like I said, since it's January, beginning of a new year, I just wanted to give you a couple numbers, just to let you know, as of December, our monthly, the amount of the awards that come from the federal VA to the county for compensation, which is a disability payment, pension, education, aid and attendance is $1,139,632.
It's amazing.
It's an amazing amount, yeah. So yearly, that means the county veterans and their dependents are receiving $13,675,476. So over $13 million. This is going to currently 610 individuals. And I say individuals, not just veterans, because this can go to widows. This may be educational benefits to dependents of veterans. So 610 different individuals.
A month.
A month. Yeah, and that number fluctuates with people moving or passing on, because when you pass on, most of those benefits do go away. Just to let you know too, that currently we're working over 120 claims, active claims in the office. So, in our numbers last year for total communication and everything was over 6,000. So we are keeping busy. So just wanted to give you that brief update, let you know what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Any questions?
I have none.
Okay. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate you.
You bet.
Travis.
Should be headed this way. So we wanted to be here for this.
I was definitely with you this morning too.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
You want to wait a minute? You just want me to?
Yeah, we'll wait while he gets back.
Okay.
Maybe Patrick, come over and
Crouch. Do you know anybody for the condemnation board?
This should I gave out last time?
I think I have this one, but just make sure.
Oh, that's cheese. Community camp showed up to you at the jail to do the
Oh.
install. I was like, so I called someone
Yeah, I
to
just want to
pick
make
her
sure
up.
out on there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make it at all three places.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
whichever one you
Have at
guys
her.
want to start.
So Travis and I have been conniving, I guess, talking about some options for him and I to switch places, switch offices. Moving up here to the courthouse for the first time ever, and Travis moving down to my space to be closer to all his toys down at the bus barn. So I guess the advantages for me of being convenience, being closer to the courthouse and not making as many trips back and forth. And I guess Travis can talk about what the benefits are to him.
How convenient would that be for you to be away from your place?
I think that would be the thing to be evaluated. You know, I do think that it is in the best interest of Mills County Emergency Management to be in that space. I do think that current training conference room would more adequately serve Mills County, the jurisdictions within its borders, you know, in response and recovery to situations, incidents, large events. I think that it was displayed during the flood, most certainly being this courthouse is a public space. It was great during RAGBRAI. But I think from a 911 standpoint, that is, you know, to be evaluated. I think that now that we do have the leads in place, they're doing great work when it comes to frontline supervision, and it would be, you know, as you know, the next 6 months or the year continues to, you know, kind of press forward, we would just give them a little bit more, you know, that kind of thing, right? I do think that having Patrick be here, that does greatly benefit 911 as he's, one of the first calls to assist with, a lot of the 911 pieces and components. Software is all IT based, so having him here to diagnose some of those issues, almost immediately is great. Anything from supervisory personnel, leadership type things, I can be here within a handful of minutes, right? And then we can sit, whether it's in the EOC, the current EOC, to have some of those discussions. I think that I can do it, but I will say that it is something to evaluate and see what it looks like, over the course, of the next year, on how it's working. Are there any other things, that we need to implement? Is there something else that's just not working in its entirety? But from the agency standpoint, me being the Mills County Emergency Management Coordinator, I do think that it is in the best interest. And I think that's another thing to discuss is the space down there would not change from its day-to-day business. It would still be open, available, obviously. Public meetings do. I think that that's wonderful.
What meeting room you're talking?
The new
Not your
space, no. So during an activation, an EOC activation, if it's search and rescue, for instance, Judy, or response to a flood, is that space would be primarily utilized, for response, and then it would transition to recovery efforts. But the reason being is that the space is large enough. It's got the IT components within it to adequately display information, discuss, those things with the first responders, all of our stakeholders within it. But then after, when we, demobilized and, our EOC activations, fell back into a normal steady state, it would just, return to primary day-to-day business of planning and zoning meetings and that kind of space. I do think that we could also offer, the Emergency Management Commission and the agency could offer, facility caretaking. We did have the conversation at the Emergency Management Commission meeting the other night to include, the utility costs within it. I did have those discussions with Patrick on what that looks like every single year. So we did include those, and we did discuss those, the utility costs, heating, gas, electric. Again, on the 911 standpoint, I think it's to be evaluated. Emergency management, great. It sounds like the benefits, from an IT perspective, would be great to the county if Patrick's here.
You just said that added on this big space for him though, and now he's moving, so it's just my only concern.
Yeah, I mean, the annex room wasn't specifically for me, but.
Yeah, the meeting room, that doesn't bother me at all. It's, it must be your office there. You didn't look like you have a lot more space in your office now when I was down the other day versus.
Yeah.
My concern is, will you have enough moving into where he's at? So there's a lot of computers and radios and stuff you work on, so.
Yeah, I think so, but it's, again, I'm not good at visualizing that stuff either, but it looks like he's got quite a bit of space down there, if I'm taking over all of it. So.
Well, I definitely see the advantage for you, obviously, just being here so you don't have to run back and forth. But then when it comes to Travis, you and I have spoke. My only concern is 911. That's my only concern with this plan. But you have some great people down there. You have some great dispatchers, and you can be here in a matter of minutes. Another thing that you didn't mention that I think is important is it's also great to have emergency management located so close to the sheriff's office. If you move down there, that's a huge advantage to you folks, working with them, collaborating with them when problems do arise. So I have no problem with it as long as you personally feel comfortable with ensuring that, the day-to-day activities of 911 downstairs do not change when you go across.
No, agreed completely. Well said. I think that I'm not a leader or a department head that's just going to, maintain control by keeping my grips on everything. We have great people. I'm going to empower my people, especially our up and coming leaders within the department that we've had as, we've designated as leads. So again, I think with giving them a little bit more responsibility, especially over the course of the next year, that we'll see what that looks like. We'll evaluate it, but I think that we're in pretty good hands there.
Good.
I'll say this, when we went through the flood in 19 and stuff, this little cracker box of a room we had downstairs with all the
small
federal, state, and everybody else that had to be in there, and then local people that still had to be in there. when you sit on the stairs and do your conference calls or your every morning work and things, it really gets complicated, whereas the room down there can be divided. We got the screens and stuff that everybody can use. It makes a good fit that way. With 911, I feel that Travis has his people in position and promoting them, making them, take command of things and work. Patrick's always been kind of second in command to help out with 911 when we needed to. So I have no problem with them switching places. I just think it'd save him 5,000 miles a year.
I still have to travel no matter where I'm at because we have other buildings, but I do make a lot of trips up here every day.
Yes.
Now, is this something that we have to vote on then moving, or?
Just to formalize it, I think so. I don't know if we have to one way or the other, but it's on here as a motion or action item, so why not?
So I'll make a motion for Travis Hiscock with Emergency Management Coordinator to move down to the Mills County Annex Building, and for Patrick Benz, IT Director, to move to the Mills County Courthouse.
I will second that.
If it doesn't work out, you guys can let us know and you can move back. It's a lot easier to add on to that building than it is this building.
We're swapping furniture too, so we're not moving all the big furniture.
That's, I think
We're just taking the individual stuff. And
path of least resistance there. We're both, my back hurts a little bit. And so
We've got a motion and a second to approve the swap of offices, we'll call it, between IT and emergency management. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. When are you guys gonna do this?
hopefully when it warms up.
leave this afternoon. No, I know
Not
it's
today.
no, it is awful. It is awful.
I will squeeze you in, by the way, so don't worry. Stick around.
I would definitely think, in the coming months when it starts to warm up, get a good plan of what that looks like and the space. And then I think another thing to mention is some of the holes that we have, things tucked away down here that'll be moving down there too. So a lot of that
got moved out.
Yep.
The previous couple.
Yep.
Administrators, so it should be easier to move.
Yeah, agreed. Okay,
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Jake, speak on the library quick.
Sure, I would. I love to speak on the library.
Come on up.
On your library, I should say.
I'm Dawn Miller. I'm the library director in Tabor at the Lakeland Library and Envisioning Center. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
welcome to the board. I'll just hand you these. These are just some things that you guys can keep. It's my January and February calendar, so you can see what's going on at the library. And then I have one for you too, that just has some information about things that have happened in 2024. Our head count went up again. Our new library, since you're new, we built a new library. We've had it about 2.5 years, just about 3 years. Before the library, we had about 4,000 visitors a year, a head count, and we're over 12,000 now. So it's been a huge impact for our community. Yep. We had 390 programs last year and 4,252 people attended. All of our programs and everything that we have at our library are funded by my library association or by grants or by donations, because we do not have money in our budget for programming. We have $2,000 for books because the new library costs more. My library association also pays for some of my part-time staff. I have one other person besides me that helps. She works about 20, sometimes 22 hours a week. And so they have a set amount, and if we go over that amount on our budget, then my library association pays for the rest of her wages for the year. And so last year we only just went over just a couple thousand, so that was good. But just to let you know, our budget's like super tight down there because of the new library. Well, it was before, but because of the new library building. We started a series about 1.5 years ago called the Lunch and Learn, and it became so popular that now it's every other week. So we have presenters come in that present on all kinds of different topics. And then we also Facebook Live the ones that we can. The only ones that we can't are presenters that write their own material, so it's their own copyrighted. But it's all on our Facebook Lives. And so last year we were able to get a grant for that from the Humanity Iowas. It was a $2,000 matching grant, so they matched $2,000 to our $2,000. 1,000.
Good.
And we had 24 presenters and 484 people attend those, but 575 people viewed online for 20 minutes or more on our, we don't count them if they're less than that as being an attendee. So that was really cool. So that shows how we're keeping that program going. We're looking for funding for that again this year. I wrote some grants.
Good.
Our summer reading programs are funded by all local businesses in Glenwood and Tabor and Randolph-Thurman area. I reach out to people to help with that. And we had 84 programs in June and July, and 1,943 attended those. And we have we work with the school, and the school has summer school kids that come throughout the month of June, and they bring them on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for an hour to the library. On Wednesdays, we always have a performer or of some kind that comes in, a juggler or an animal program or something like that. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do our own programs at the library that are set up where the kids go around and do different things. Usually we have art and we have math and we have all different kinds of stuff that they can do. So they bring them up 2 days a week. I was awarded STEM scale-up programs again last year. The Fuse Studio was one that had 2 3D printers, and then it has all of this other stuff that is an online program with the Fuse Studios that is a challenge-based program where the kids can go in and it shows them how to do, you can fly an airplane, you can build roller coasters, you can work with LED lights in fashion and all this stuff. And so it has a program where they go in and they pick what they want to do, and then it gives them directions and a video to show them how to do each step. And as they get to a certain step, then they have to upload the picture of what they're doing to show that they've got that completed before they can move on. So it's really been a really cool thing. Our 3D printers, it took a while to get them hooked up. So they've only been hooked up for about a month now, but we're getting a lot of interest in those. So we're learning as we go with those, but the rest of it has been really cool. We also got an All About Balance, and that one is more for younger kids, but our elementary kids of all ages have been loving those. And we got 2 big wooden balance equipment to build balance equipment that they can put buckets on them to weigh things, or they have flat surfaces to weigh the difference in things, and just a whole bunch of tops that spin and a bunch of different things that have to do with balance. We also got a STEM cart, but we didn't get it until the end. It was the year before, but we didn't get it until the very end. So we've more used it this year, and it's from Teacher Geek, and it's a great big STEM or STEAM cart that has a bazillion things on it to do that the kids can come in, and sometimes we give them something specific to do with it, to make like a hand that, or something that reaches out and grabs a grabber of some kind, or we did beaks and different things, or rubber band cars to show how that they use the energy of the rubber band to go and stuff, or they can come in and they can just use the stuff on it. And then the last one, Storytime STEM Kits, which is something that we use primarily with our toddlers, preschoolers, and it has books in it, and then it has, STEM is a big buzzword, as if you can't tell on here, it's a big buzzword in the libraries right now. Science, technology, engineering, math, sometimes it's STEAM with art added in it. And so you hear a lot of that, but all of these kits have components of those somehow. Some of them even have like Bebot robots, so that the toddlers are learning how to code and stuff like that. So they're really cool.
Good.
Other achievements that we are one of 4 places in the state of Iowa that was awarded the Spark Innovations. It was something that we put in a grant for through the state, and then I was awarded the grant, and then the state decided that they couldn't afford the money to move the exhibit around, because it's a big exhibit. And so then they said we weren't going to do it. And then I got a phone call from the Smithsonian, and they had reached out because they were trying to work out a way for it to still come to Iowa, and they still wanted me to put in for it. So they had me resubmit my application, and I was chosen again. And so of one of 4. And then the only thing was after we got it, then they said that we would have to pay to just have it moved from one place to another on a big truck. Well, I had no idea where that was going to be or how much that was going to cost, and we didn't have a budget for that. So I told them I was really sorry. I'd love it, but we couldn't afford it. Then I got a phone call 3 days later saying they really wanted us to be a part of it. They loved our application, and we're going to be the last spot in the place of Iowa, so that we don't have to pay for it to be moved because they'll be picking it up to move it. So in February 10th, it will be set up at our library through the end of March. And I actually have, excuse me, one minute. If you know of any place that you want to put up any of those, or ladies, if you want to grab me, I know you grabbed some, Melanie, the other day. I have some little postcards too that tell about what it is. And so what it is it is an exhibit from the Smithsonian, and it's interactive, and it's to try and spark an innovation within the rural communities of Iowa to better your communities, to promote your communities, or to better something in your community. And it has to do with the culture of your community or the technology in your community, using technology to create something in your community. Art, did I say art, culture? Art, culture, technology, and history, I think I can't remember. But anyway, it has different places all over the United States where they show how that they have used the culture or the art or technology to better their places. So that's kind of what it's about. So we sent out letters to all of the schools within an hour distance of us in Iowa to try and get schools to bring kids to come and visit. And so we'll see what happens. And then we have speakers. We're trying to set up speakers from the Switch Center and the Swift Center and from the Iowa Arts Council and stuff like that to come down and do presentations to kind of promote and show how that has worked in Iowa. So that's, if you want to know more about that, I have information on it in my bag. I was also asked to present at a STEM session with 2 other colleagues, one from the Iowa Governor's STEM Council and one that's another librarian. She's a teen youth librarian in Atlantic at the Iowa Library Conference this last fall. And then I was asked to, or I put in an application and was chosen to present at our STEM fair here in Southwest Iowa coming up.
Neat.
And then one other thing that I think is really cool to talk about, and I know I told you about this, a couple weeks ago, there was a free women's Women in STEM program that was held at the Swift Center. Is it Switch? At the Switch Center, the new one that's over here, in the old school. And it was open to any women that wanted to do it, and it was free. And in that program, I was there, Lisa was there, which is the director of the Malvern Library, and Melody was there with a helper that she has from her library, and one lady that was a teacher in East Mills. That was all that was there. And it was pretty interesting information. I mean, I learned some stuff from it, and we get different kits and stuff like that to use for attending. And it was just very interesting. So I'm excited to see things like that happening in Southwest Iowa, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Anybody have questions for me?
I just have a comment.
Okay.
Quick story, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Librarians love stories after all. So when I was, I don't know if this is legal for me to admit to, when I was 17 years old, which wasn't that long ago, I got a phone call from friends of the Malvern Public Library saying they wanted me to be a member. So I went down there, and first meeting, quite a great bunch of older ladies, loved them to death. Well, they voted me to be vice president of Friends of the Malvern Public Library. That was my first meeting. Then the day after, the president resigned. I think it was a whole plan. And then I became president at 17 years old with a group of 10 ladies. And all I know is that every single meeting we said, Well, damn, Tabor sure knows what's going on, and they're pretty good at what they're doing. So you ought to be very proud. So
I watch a lot of other libraries and what they do, and I watch rural libraries too, but I have my eye on Clarinda and Council Bluffs and Shannon and libraries, that are, doing a lot of things. And I just don't think that libraries are going to stay around if they aren't doing the programming and
absolutely.
doing the other things. We're more like a community center, we have exercise in the morning and we have programs for all ages and stuff. And I just think that for us to survive, that's kind of what we're going to have to do. But I appreciate that. And I know this sounds like, you get up here and you're telling all the things that you do. And I used to hate doing that, but I've learned that that's how you promote your library and that's how you get money for your library. So, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much. I would say if you do have money left at the end of the year, I've never asked for that before, but if you do have money left at the end of the year and you need some place for it to go, we could use it for programming at the library right now. While we're getting things settled, we have had lighting issues and stuff with our new library that are still not fixed, and we don't have a budget for it.
We have a
But
jail that's the same way.
yeah. So anyway, thank you very much, and I'll leave these up here. Do you want any of these? You can grab some too. I'll just grab you a few
We'll
here.
put one here in the courthouse.
Very good. I'll just leave one up here and give these to the other ladies. There you go. Thank you. Yep.
Are you putting these around town, Dawn, or you want us to do it for you?
If you want to, you can. We're gonna come around and see. We're gonna go around and see. I've been a little bit upset.
If you're braving the cold, Terry, you can stick one in the front of my office. So.
Okay. And you grab some of it. Okay.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for all you do.
Come over? Yeah. You come with me?
Yep.
Awesome.
You're not getting kicked out, though. You can stay as long as you want.
I'm invited to my house.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, condemnation commission appointments.
I'll touch on my opinion when it comes to this. Lonnie, you had this paper. I'm gonna be very honest. I obviously don't think that we can do it this meeting. I think we should table it to next week, but
We have no condemnations going on right now anyway, so.
yeah, I would like to see, we have two different options. We can either add 6 members to real estate brokers, 4 members to knowledge of property values such as bankers, auctioneers, property managers. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us to get that amount of people. So what I would prefer to do is to add 1 to real estate brokers and then remove 4 members from owners of city property and owner, operator, ag property, and remove 1 from knowledge of property values such as bankers, auctioneers. I don't think we'll be able to find 6 members for real estate or 4 members for knowledge of property values.
4 members from knowledge of property values. Okay. And you want to remove how many?
We would have to, these are the only 2 options we have.
You have to have them evenly distributed, and you have to have at least 28.
So, if you have a suggestion that we can find 6 people for real estate brokers and find 4 for knowledge of property values, then we can do that. But I think that's going to be incredibly difficult for us to do. So what I would prefer is to remove a few members and add 1 to real estate brokers. So we'd be removing 4 from owners of city property, 4 from owner operator back property, and 1 from knowledge of property values. And I think we need to make sure we table it for a while so we can get another member, and then we can also decide, who's pretty active, who wants to be on, who doesn't, want to be on anymore.
Yeah.
So you guys want to just let me know when you're ready to put it back on?
Yeah. How many times have we dealt with this? I know we did with our towers. When else have we done this?
I think we've had to work with the county engineer a couple of times. I can remember
buying right away.
Sure.
That's typically when it happens.
And it only amounts to maybe 15, 20 feet wide, just so they got room to maneuver and work.
Yeah, I'm wide open to it. This is a committee that meets sometimes once a decade.
you want us to remove you, Andy?
When we checked it. Yeah, it's I'm open to any discussion on this moving forward. And yeah, I don't think we should decide today.
Well, I will second Mr. Sayers' motion on tabling this for, well, let's say a month, make sure we get this back on so we don't,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
gives us some time.
Well, and we can reach out to some of these people and say, do you still want to be on? I mean, finding one real estate, it's gonna be simple. Pulling 4 off of a couple, pulling 1 off is gonna be easy. Pulling 4 off the other 2, you may get 4 and say, yeah, I don't care. So it'll be pretty simple.
Yeah.
I call them first and see who wants to be here and who doesn't. So, but yeah, it's a simple thing. We'll just table that for today. But keep it open for discussion. Amber Farnan, can you state who you're with? And
I'm with the Mills County Auditor's Office, and I'm requesting approval of the 2025 Wellness Program. It's 2 motions. One approves the agreement, and the second one approves the incentives that the county gives. This will just help us move forward.
this saves us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
I would second the first motion, or make the first motion. I'll get spit out here.
As I said, I've never seen it done before, but you could.
We can do that.
Well, I'll second
have a
that.
second and a first. We have a motion and a second to approve the 2025 Wellness Program Agreement in Mills County to participate in the ISAC Wellness Program. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Part B, consideration formal action Mills County employees that are enrolled in insurance as part of the ISAC Wellness Program. Did you verify that it's only only people that get
So-
insurance?
I got an email this morning.
Okay.
And she stated that. Find it real quick. The Isaac Wellness Program, they're not eligible if they do not have the insurance. Mills County chooses to do outside activities, you can, but it does not count towards our discount.
Does that have to be added in this?
No,
No.
statement?
because it
That
says
was
that
just a
it
question
enrolled.
yesterday.
Okay,
That's what I was led to
Yeah.
believe for the last several
well,
years.
that's what I thought,
Whether you took the insurance or not, it still helped our number,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
obviously.
And I will
doesn't,
send that out to department heads, just so everybody's aware.
Okay. Now
I
we're
will
clear.
make a motion to approve this also.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Mills County employees that are enrolled in insurance and part of the ISAC Wellness Program. That the Board of Supervisors will approve 8 hours of vacation for employees who complete the physical and submit it successfully to ISAC. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So is this saying that the people that don't take let's say Greg doesn't take insurance, well, he's not an employee. One of Greg's employees that doesn't take the insurance, if they don't participate, then they don't get the 8 hours off, correct?
That's correct.
Just wanted to clarify, I know we'll be asked. All right, any open discussion, gentlemen,
I actually have an open discussion item real quick.
ladies and gentlemen?
The super board meeting is on Thursday,
Oh, yeah.
at 6:00 at Glenwood City Hall.
Thursday?
Do you guys have any agenda items you would like to add to the agenda?
And this is, we don't vote on anything. This is just us
All
discussing.
discussion.
It's all
No,
discussion.
no motion, no nothing, no, it's communication only.
Why don't we add, public health on there? I'd like to see public health added on there, just so that we can fill in people on
That's
what had to
Jack will talk
happen.
about.
I will work on some economic developments. Maybe I can answer some questions.
Okay.
People are,
And I don't know what I'll have, because I'm not sure if I will be able to make that or not,
Okay.
but
I
I
plan,
can have live.
I plan to attend, and I usually take minutes for those, so I'll continue that practice.
All right. Anything else?
You got anything, Andy?
I just have my contract for law enforcement.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 10:14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn at 10:14. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Amber, just the X up top.
Whatever the light
Yeah,
shows
so
are.
I'll have Amber put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I'll just take it, and I'll scan it, I'll send it, or bring a copy down.
Yeah. I just need the last page.